Understood and confirmed. Here's the full 1900-word professional YouTube script for your faceless video titled, Everybody Loves Raymond. Behind the Scenes and Untold Stories. When Everybody Loves Raymond first aired, no one could have guessed just how much it would change the face of American television. It felt real. The laughs felt natural. The characters reminded us of people we actually knew. Over the years, it became more than just a sitcom. It became part of the culture. But behind the perfectly timed jokes and family chaos, there were real stories, struggles, and moments most people never saw. The kind that make you realize the show wasn't just acting. It was real life, wrapped in comedy. The show's title alone has a surprising story. It wasn't cooked up by a group of marketers in a studio. It actually came from a sarcastic comment made by Ray Romano's real-life brother, Rich, who was a New York City police officer. While Ray was building his comedy career, Rich was dealing with danger on the streets. One day, after a long shift, he told Ray, "I go to work and people shoot at me. Raymond goes to work and everybody loves Raymond." That one line stuck. At first, Ray hated it. He thought it sounded too much like bragging. But the producers disagreed. And over time so did the audience. The title ended up perfectly capturing the sarcastic, family-centered humor that made the show so special. Even the opening sequence had a clever touch. It featured the entire Barone family on a moving conveyor belt, each person introduced in turn. And it ended with Robert, Raymond's brother, deadpanning the famous title line. That opening became iconic, and even led to pop culture references in shows like Everybody Hates Chris. It wasn't just a title. It became a punchline for a whole generation. What made the show especially relatable was how closely it mirrored Ray Romano's real life. In fact, the kids in the show were inspired by his own. Ray had 3 children, 1 daughter and twin boys. In the pilot episode, the characters were even given the same names as his real children: Alexandra, Gregory, and Matthew. But the writers later changed the boys' names to Michael and Jeffrey to create more distance between fiction and reality. Only the daughter's name, Ally, stayed the same. The casting of the children was a story on its own. The original twin actors, Justin and Drew Ferreira, were replaced early in the show's run. As they began to age too quickly for their roles, they were swapped out for Sawyer and Sullivan Sweeten, real-life twins who brought a fresh charm to the characters. Even though they didn't really look like Ray, they became a key part of the family dynamic that fans loved. Their performances helped bring a sense of realism and warmth that went far beyond just reading lines. But while audiences were enjoying the laughs, not everything was light-hearted behind the scenes. Brad Garrett, who played Robert Barone, delivered one of the most memorable performances on the show. He managed to balance humor, jealousy, and sadness in a way that made Robert feel incredibly real. Garrett's performance earned him 3 Emmy Awards. Yet, few fans knew that during the early seasons, he was battling a personal demon: alcohol. He has since admitted that he was a high-functioning alcoholic during that time. He would sometimes show up to work under the influence, hiding his addiction behind the character. But eventually, he made the decision to get sober. He quit drinking before the first season ended, a move that likely saved both his career and his health. That quiet struggle makes his performance even more impressive. As the show's popularity grew, tensions rose, not on screen, but in the paycheck department. Ray Romano, who starred in and helped create the show, was making an eye-watering $1.8 million per episode by 2003. It made him the highest-paid actor on television at the time. Meanwhile, Brad Garrett was earning far less, about $160,000 per episode. Feeling undervalued, he took a stand and temporarily walked off the show. Other cast members followed in solidarity. After weeks of negotiations, the cast won a significant pay raise and returned to work. It was a tense moment that showed how success in Hollywood doesn't always mean fairness. But in the end, the team came back together, and the show continued stronger than ever. There were also moments when real-world opinions clashed on set. Patricia Heaton, who played Deborah Barone, was outspoken about her conservative beliefs. Peter Boyle, who played the grumpy Frank Barone, had strong liberal views. While that might have caused drama on another set, the two managed to keep their differences in check. Heaton later said that although they sometimes disagreed, they always treated each other with kindness and humor. It mirrored the kind of loving but chaotic relationship seen in the Barone family itself. Patricia Heaton had her own challenges during production. two pregnancies that the show's writers chose not to include in the storyline. So the team got creative. They used oversized sweaters, careful camera angles, and even props like laundry baskets to hide her baby bump. It's a little Hollywood trick that worked so well, most fans never noticed. But Heaton's off-screen drama didn't stop there. In 2009, she was sued by her former assistant, who claimed she hadn't been paid for extra hours worked. The case involved a relatively small amount, just over $700, but it brought attention to the importance of labor laws, even for celebrities. One of the reasons the show felt so real was because it was based on real life. Ray Romano and showrunner Phil Rosenthal would often take events straight from their own homes and turn them into episodes. A real argument over a can opener turned into an entire plot. Petty fights, awkward dinners, and holiday disasters weren't made up in a writer's room. They were taken from actual experiences. That honesty gave the show its heart. When the writers felt they were running out of fresh ideas, they chose to end the show instead of forcing new material. That decision, though tough, preserved the show's legacy. Peter Boyle, whose portrayal of Frank Barone was both hilarious and touching, brought his own backstory to the role. Unlike the cranky character he played, Boyle was warm, thoughtful, and deeply committed to his work. He actually secured the role after a meeting where he appeared irritable, not because of attitude, but because he had been stuck in airport delays and traffic. That grumpy mood ended up working in his favor. But not all of Boyle's struggles were visible. In 2002, he was diagnosed with myeloma, a form of bone marrow cancer. He kept his condition private, telling only a few close friends and co-stars like Doris Roberts. She encouraged him to keep working and not let the illness define him. Boyle stayed with the show until the very end, delivering strong performances even while battling his health. He passed away in 2006, leaving behind a powerful legacy of strength and dedication. Ray Romano's own family had mixed feelings about being turned into sitcom material. His brother Rich, the real-life inspiration for Robert, found himself the butt of jokes among fellow officers. They teased him about storylines that felt a little too familiar. Ray admitted that some of the jokes on the show came directly from Rich's habits, like borrowing things from co-workers and not returning them. While it made for good comedy, it also blurred the line between entertainment and personal life. At one point, there were serious talks about giving Robert Barone his own show. The idea was to follow his character as he moved to Philadelphia to start a new life as a gym teacher. It had all the ingredients for a successful spin-off, an established character, built-in audience, and fresh storylines. But behind-the-scenes negotiations with CBS fell apart, and the show never got made. It's one of those what-could-have-been moments that still lingers with fans. Throughout the series, Patricia Heaton shined in her role as Deborah Barone. Her character was constantly juggling motherhood, marriage, and dealing with in-laws who never seemed to leave. It was a role that could have easily turned into a stereotype, but Heaton gave it complexity and heart. She won 2 Emmy Awards and earned several more nominations. Her performance helped shape the voice of modern TV moms. Smart, frustrated, loving, and funny. What made Everybody Loves Raymond so special was how real it felt. The characters weren't superheroes. They weren't exaggerated for laughs. They were regular people dealing with regular problems. Money, marriage, jealousy, parenting, in-laws. The cast didn't just act the part. They lived it. Whether it was Brad Garrett overcoming addiction, Peter Boyle fighting illness quietly, or Ray Romano juggling comedy with family life, their real experiences gave the show something priceless: authenticity. Even the conflicts that happened off-camera, salary fights, political disagreements, legal troubles, somehow never made the show feel fake. Instead, they added layers to the story. A reminder that behind every joke was a real person with real struggles. The show didn't need to last forever to make an impact. It ended at just the right time, with its quality and integrity intact. In the end, Everybody Loves Raymond wasn't just about Raymond. It was about all of us: the awkward dinners, the noisy relatives, the moments of frustration, and the surprising bursts of love in the middle of chaos. It captured the strange beauty of family life, and that's why it still matters today. If you've laughed, cried, or nodded along with the Baroness, you're not alone. The show lives on, not just in reruns, but in the way it made us feel. If you enjoyed this behind-the-scenes look, make sure to hit that thumbs up, subscribe for more fascinating stories from classic TV, and let us know in the comments. What's your favorite moment from Everybody Loves Raymond? Thanks for watching.